At first glance, Happy Days feels like a private moment frozen in time, an intimate, serene fragment of bourgeois domestic life in the late 19th century. A man and a woman share a quiet moment of reading, as if unaware of our gaze. Yet as often happens with true art, simplicity is only an illusion. Beneath this soft veneer of romance lies an entire universe, the bourgeois world of the Belle Époque, a period of profound social transformation in which the home became not just a refuge, but a stage for displaying status, refinement, and cultural aspiration. In this video, we will dive into both the painting Happy Days and its creator, Frédéric Soulacroix. We will not approach the artwork merely as a charming depiction of happy days, but as a rich historical document, one that embodies the desires, anxieties, values, and contradictions of a society in transition. It is a painting that speaks as much about its subjects as it does about the people who commissioned it, who hung it in their parlors, and who more than a century later still stand captivated before it. Frédéric Soulacroix was born in Rome in 1858, into a family where art was not a luxury but part of everyday life. His father, Charles Soulacroix, was a respected sculptor and fresco painter, and Frederick grew up surrounded by models, sketches, pigments, and the kind of artistic conversation that shapes an eye before it even knows it is learning. For him, art was not simply a vocation, it was a native language. At just 15, he enrolled at the prestigious Academy of Fine Arts in Florence. There he received a rigorous classical education grounded in anatomy, perspective, academic draftsmanship, and the traditions of Renaissance and Baroque painting. But instead of devoting himself to grand historical or religious subjects, Soulacroix discovered his voice in something far more intimate: genre scenes, elegant interiors, and finely rendered historical costumes. Over time, he became one of the leading figures of what came to be known as the Italian school of silks and satins, a name that speaks to the extraordinary technical mastery these artists displayed in painting delicate fabrics, lustrous surfaces, and luxurious textures. In his work, dresses look almost tangible. One feels the softness of the silk, the weight of the brocade, the gleam of the satin. His signature, Soulacroix, often written in red, became a mark of excellence recognized by collectors. It set his work apart from that of his father, who signed differently, and established Frederick's own artistic identity. Anyone who saw that signature knew exactly what they were getting: elegance, refinement, romanticism, and finely controlled technique. Soulacroix specialized in romantic genre scenes with costumes from the 17th and early 19th centuries. These were not archaeological reconstructions, but idealized visions of a past in which leisure, culture, and romance seemed central to everyday life. For the rising bourgeoisie, these paintings worked like aspirational mirrors. They reflected the elegance and stability they longed to associate with themselves. It is crucial to understand that Soulacroix's intention was not to document fashion with historical accuracy. His goal was to create nostalgic fantasy, a carefully crafted dreamscape that resonated with the desires of his clientele. Academic painting during the Belle Époque satisfied a very modern need, the longing for beauty and for a more ordered, harmonious world at a time when industrialization was rapidly changing daily life. Within this cultural context, Happy Days was born, not as a simple decorative canvas, but as a distilled expression of the bourgeois imagination, a visual embodiment of the Belle Époque's dreams and ideals. Happy Days places us inside a sumptuous interior, meticulously arranged so that nothing appears accidental. The setting functions as what art historians often call a living still life, a space in which objects are curated as if they were part of a private museum, each item selected to communicate taste, refinement, and cultural awareness. The oriental carpet with its tassels, geometric motifs, and plush texture is not merely decorative, it represents the era's fascination with exoticism and Japanisme, that 19th century cultural phenomenon fueled by global trade and colonial expansion. Such imported objects connected the bourgeois home with the wider world, subtly signaling access to wealth, rare goods, and cultural sophistication. The walls, likely adorned with tapestries or rich textiles, reflect the eclectic decorative style characteristic of the late 19th century, a blend of historical motifs, Renaissance references, Rococo ornamentation, and Oriental influences. The Belle Époque thrived on these mixtures. The past was not copied faithfully, but recombined and reinterpreted to create an impression of cultured memory and refined taste. In this richly layered environment, the figures become the true protagonists. The woman wears an empire-style dress, a high waist just below the bust, a long flowing skirt, and a fitted bodice that enhances rather than constrains the natural body line. This fashion, popular at the turn of the 19th century, symbolized a lighter, more natural ideal of beauty compared to the restrictive Victorian styles of Soulacroix's own time. Such pale garments, often white, were considered markers of privilege, since only affluent women could afford fabrics so delicate and easily stained. Soulacroix uses this style deliberately. By dressing his subject in an empire gown, he evokes an idealized past perceived as more graceful and liberated. Clothing here becomes a coded language that communicates elegance, freedom, and social standing. The man, dressed with understated refinement, reads aloud to his companion. They are not working, they are not rushing, they are simply sharing intellectual leisure. This moment encapsulates the bourgeois ideal of cultivated domesticity, where the home is not only a private retreat, but the very center of cultural life. The room is filled with small treasures, embroidered cushions, delicate ceramics, decorative objects, books, and fine furniture. Each item contributes to a visual narrative about prosperity and taste. In 19th century bourgeois interiors, objects were chosen and displayed almost as status texts. Every visitor was expected to read them. Happy Days captures this phenomenon with documentary precision. Light, although not explicitly discussed in the original script, plays a crucial role. It glides across the silky dress, highlights the man's gesture, warms the interior, and enhances the idealized atmosphere. This soft illumination is not naturalistic. It is poetic, designed to beautify and elevate the scene. In essence, Happy Days functions not merely as a charming interior scene, but as a visual catalogue of bourgeois values, taste, comfort, beauty, and cultural aspiration, carefully staged to craft a world that feels serene, harmonious, and above all desirable. At first glance, Happy Days might seem like a straightforward celebration of comfortable bourgeois life, soft lighting, elegant interiors, refined leisure. But when we consider the painting in its historical context, deeper tensions emerge. Throughout much of the 20th century, especially from modernist perspectives, academic painting like this was dismissed under the derogatory label of bourgeois art. Critics accused it of being complacent, decorative, and lacking true innovation, contrasting it unfavorably with the groundbreaking work of the Impressionists, Symbolists, and avant-garde movements. Yet this simplistic dismissal fails to recognize the cultural complexity of works such as Happy Days. For one, this art was not consumed solely by the bourgeoisie. Aristocrats and traditional elites also collected these paintings. And although working-class families could not afford originals, they frequently purchased engravings and reproductions, showing just how pervasive these images were. The painting also functions as a historical document, preserving not only the fashions and interiors of the time, but also the values, aspirations, and anxieties of a society undergoing rapid change. The Belle Époque was an era of remarkable technological progress and material innovation, but also of inequality and quiet social tension. The calm domestic interior of Happy Days stands in stark contrast to the restless world beyond its walls. Decorative objects, oriental carpets, eclectic tapestries, fine furniture were not mere ornamentation. They reflected global trade networks, colonial ambitions, and the appropriation of foreign artistic traditions for European consumption. The bourgeois home, with all its serenity, was built upon complex systems of production, commerce, and power. The painting also reveals a subtle cultural anxiety, a desire to freeze in paint, a world that felt ordered, beautiful, and stable at a moment when modernity was unsettling traditional structures. While avant-garde artists experimented with fragmentation and subjective perception, academic artists like Sola Croy offered something different, a visual refuge, an idealized world where harmony still seemed possible. Ultimately, Happy Days transcends its historical period and speaks to universal human desires, beauty, comfort, love, and harmony within the domestic space. Beyond any label of bourgeois art, the painting taps into a deeper yearning, the desire to craft a home that is not just functional but poetic. Sola Croy did more than document a moment, he built a lasting fantasy. His figures are not individuals with specific biographies, but archetypes onto which viewers can project themselves. This universal quality is why the painting continues to charm audiences more than a century later. Happy Days is not simply about happy days in the literal sense. It is about the bourgeois right, real or aspirational, to pursue happiness through beauty and cultivated domesticity. And in achieving that, the painting accomplishes what the best genre artists have always sought, transforming the ordinary into the eternal, the particular into the universal, and the fleeting into the timeless. Seen today, it stands as both a portrait of its era and a quiet meditation on the enduring human longing to surround ourselves with beauty. Among silks, tapestries, and the soft glow of shared reading, Happy Days reminds us that even the most idealized scenes contain within them the layered narratives of class, aspiration, and dreams that still resonate with us.